big thing that I know with Bennett and Klint obviously going to be like the leaders of your team this year. I know you've talked in the past about, how difficult it is to kind of make that jump to be like the voices in the locker room. How do you think they're adjusting to that so far?
They've done a great job so far, and I would include Ted in that group as well. As all three of those guys being fifth-year seniors, I think last year with Jeremy being a fourth-year senior, Jordan being a senior but only being here for 1 year, that Klint, Bennett, Ted, there was some leadership that was put onto them last year as well, and I think that's helped them. But I think the most important thing when it comes time for you to take on more leadership, or when you become a senior and you take on a completely different role in terms of the leadership of our program, it all goes back to how hard you're working. I don't think there's any question that that's what your teammates respond to. That's what your program responds to, is how hard you're working individually. How hard did you work to prepare yourself? How hard are you working at practice every day? How hard are you competing at practice every day? There isn't anybody that's practicing that wants somebody telling them what to do if they're not doing it themselves. And from that standpoint, Ted has always done a tremendous job. Bennett and Klint this is the best that they have done in terms of preparing themselves for a season. And it would go back to last spring. It's the best spring they had, it's the best summer they had, and it's been the best fall that they've had. And it's nice to have experience. It's nice to get older. Those things will help Ted, Bennett, and Klint in terms of leadership, but there isn't anything like preparing yourself and working. And those guys have done a great job of that.
For Klint Carlson, a couple years ago at the NCAA tournament, had a kind of a coming out, and then last year, maybe not as productive as he may have wanted himself to be. What can take him to that next level? I mean, it's usually small things, but what can take him to that next level?
Yeah, hard work. I mean, I've had a number of conversations with him going back to last spring, and even before that, earlier in his career. But no different than what I just talked about. If you're going to be a good leader, you're going to have to work hard. For him to improve his game, he was going to have to work harder. And he had a stretch. This would have been 3 to 4 weeks ago. He had a stretch where he took upwards of 8,500 shots in 10 days. And we've never had anybody do that, And I was on him pretty good. And for parts of his time here, he hasn't responded real well to getting in the gym and working hard enough to earn the kind of confidence that you need to have to be a great player. There's been times that he has, but there's been times that he hasn't, and I give him a lot of credit for what he's done this fall. He's been great in terms of how hard he's worked. Now, how that translates to the basketball part of it, he's shooting the ball with a lot more confidence, which you would expect if you're going to put in that kind of time. And that's made a big difference for him. What I talked to Klint about a lot was, if you make three-point shots, you are going to be very, very hard to defend. What that will do for our offense, if you're going to make three-point shots at a high rate, if you're going to have the confidence to take three-point shots, the way Paul Jesperson, the way Matt Bohannon, the way those guys approached that part of their game. Now, he isn't the same shooter that those two guys are. But he has, he's finally put in the same amount of work. So he is a much better shooter than he was a year ago. And that was my biggest message to him, and in terms of the offensive side of it. And now we need him to rebound at a higher level. He doesn't have enough offensive rebounds at this point in our practices. And I talk about the two things that he's got to do better. I can tell you he's in the best shape that he's ever been in. As I have mentioned, this is as hard as he's ever worked to get ready, and he's playing at a high level right now. But the change is going to come through hard work.
Wyatt,